Start recording. So let me just start with you both. Is there anything that you have questions about that came up since last week? We'll start with you, Matthias.
No, I don't have any specific questions. I thought I'd join today because perhaps someone would have something that I could benefit from as well. but not yet. I'm not that far along in solving the problem either. So yeah, but so far not really.
Okay, good.
It's been growing great for me. I put up the project and everything. Made some measurements and stuff. But I have a question about if you want to force topology via the QGIS project, if you can show an example for that.
Oh yeah, so in QGIS, so let me share my screen. There are a few tools in QGIS for around topology. One is where is that? I don't remember if it's still a plugin or not. Nope. I'm going to go to the plugin manager and search for topology. So QGIS has this core plugin, the topology checker. So if I turn this topology checker plugin on, it's going to appear in the vector menu. And it's basically a panel. And of course, in this project, I don't have a lot of vector layers to combine, but I can still show you how it would work. So you start by configuring the topology checker panel. And you would say, I only have one vector layer. So my tree survey, I could say must not have duplicates, for example, must not have invalid geometries or multi-part geometries. So you can set up multiple rules. You know, I could set up must not have duplicates and add rule, and go in here and choose must not have invalid geometries and add rule. So I have a couple rules in here, and then I can validate my geometries, and it didn't find any errors, which I'm not surprised about because I only have 3 points here.
And can you take that with you in Mergin?
No.
Or is it okay to make invalid geometries in Mergin?
I don't think you would. I don't think any of the geometries you'd create in Mergin would be invalid. I would be surprised.
Maybe like self intersections or something.
Yeah, if you were digitizing a polygon feature in Mergin on your phone, you might have some self intersections. And so, you know, those usually give you a problem when you're trying to run a processing tool in QGIS against a layer that has invalid geometries. Yes, you've probably run into that if you try to, for example, use the clip tool to clip another layer to your study area, and one of the layers has invalid geometries. QGIS will tell you that the tool can't run because it has invalid geometries. And in that scenario, it's fairly easy to fix. You can put the processing toolbox into edit features in place mode by clicking this. And this filters the available processing algorithms to those that can be run in place. And what in place means that you can run these processing tools against a layer, and it will just run, do that operation without creating output. It'll apply the processing algorithm to that layer in place, basically. So one of the easiest ways to fix geometries is to run this fixed geometries algorithm in the toolbox. And if you run it with QGIS in edit features in place mode, it will simply run this algorithm against this layer and fix the geometries without you having to create another copy of the layer. So I can choose to modify all my features in my tree survey, click close. It puts the layer into edit mode when it's doing that. And so I'm going to toggle out of editing. Now, if I had had any invalid geometries, they would have been fixed. And I could simply rerun that processing tool that threw the error when I first realized I had invalid geometries in one of my layers. So
There's no way to set it up in a Mergin environment.
Not this tool, no. Mergin, you know, the input app on your mobile device is intentionally made to be kind of very simple, because it's really designed to just allow you to collect data out in the field. And the phone is small, and we have, you know, fat fingers maybe, and we don't want to have a complicated user interface on the phone to work with. So it's intentionally devoid of tools like that. So that would be something you would fix on the desktop after you'd collected the data.
Okay.
The other thing that you can do, and this one would apply to QGIS or to Mergin maps, sorry. If I turn on the snapping toolbar and I set up a snapping environment for my layers here, I enable snapping. I can set up a lot of different snapping environments here, including where is it? Self-snapping. Where is that setting? Yeah, I don't have anything to snap to, but there's a topological editing setting in the snapping environments in QGIS. And this comes into play mostly with polygon data. And topological editing, if you have this checked, means like if you have like ion DOM boundaries, for example, or something, and you have these polygons that share a border. With topological editing enabled, you can edit the border of one polygon and it moves the other polygon with it. So that the shared polygon boundary would be moved. And I can show you a quick example of that. So if I make a temporary layer, and I'll make it polygon. I want it to be, click OK. And I quickly digitize a couple polygons here, and I set up snapping for my new scratch layer, and yeah, vertex pixels. And I now digitize a second polygon, and I snap to some of the vertices of this original one. So now I have two polygons and they share this boundary. And if I enable topological editing for this, I should be able to select this feature and grab my vertex tool and select one of these vertices and move it, and it will adjust both polygons because that topological editing is enabled. So in Mergin maps input, one of the settings you have, and I think this is in project properties. In project properties, there's a Mergin maps tab, and there's a snapping setting. And so you can set Mergin maps to have no snapping, basic snapping, and basic snapping would be it just snaps to vertices of all your vector layers in the project. Or you can have it follow your QGIS snapping. So if you'd had that topological snapping setting in your QGIS project, and you chose this setting for Mergin maps, when you went out into the field, it would, and you were editing a polygon geometry, it would use that topological snapping setting on the mobile app.
Okay.
So that could help you avoid some errors.
Yeah.
Let's see, we've had a couple more people. Fleming joined. Fleming, did you have any questions that came up in the last week?
Yes. My video is not working, so or maybe it is. No. I have a problem with my photos. They don't show up in the identify box.
Okay. It could be, well, one thing you have to do when you're wanting them to show up and identify, you have to put the identify results. You have to use the view feature form view of the identify results. So just
that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it should then show up in the field form, and that would be happening because in your attributes form widget for the photos field, you have the widget type set to attachment.
Yeah, I have.
And then in the integrated document viewer, you should have it set to image.
Yeah, I have that too. So
do you want to share your screen?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's get these. My QGIS is freezing. No, it is. I'll try. Share screen.
I see.
Host disabled. Attendee screen sharing.
You should have it. Okay, I have it set so you should be able to share your screen. That's not letting me.
No, it's not working out, but maybe it's because I'm using my browser.
Let's see. I can make you the host. So you're now running the meeting.
Okay. I can't see my screen. It seems I can only share my browser windows.
Okay. Maybe that's a limitation with using it in the browser. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it would work.
Well, maybe we can, yeah, we could meet over Teams or something.
Yeah, maybe Teams
after this, and we could, and I could see what's going on.
Yeah.
Are you able to make me host again, or? Like...
Oh yeah.
You might have to click on participants, and then I think you would right click on me and choose the little ... button.
make host.
Oh, I can reclaim host. There we go. Okay, never mind. Fixed it.
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing that came up last week was about how to divide a project up. So I emailed everyone this, but there are these things called work packages that allow you to divide a large project up amongst different groups of people out in the field. So each work package would just be a subset of the main Mergin Maps project. And the Mergin Maps then has the two-way synchronization between the main project and the dependent projects. And there's also, I can put this in the chat. This is a special piece of software, so it's not something that you just enable. You have to install it or configure it. And so there's a GitHub page here on work packages that have the instructions for how to do that. They can set you up with a demo via Lutra Consulting if you want to try this out. I have not used it. Another thing that came up is working with PostgreSQL. And so there is a PostgreSQL DB sync tool that allows you to, hold on, yeah. Thought maybe the slide wasn't displaying correctly. Allows you to synchronize Mergin Maps with a Postgres database and handle the synchronization. And so if you're running this tool, you basically still have a local Geo package that's used on your mobile device, but this software basically syncs that Geo package with the main parent PostGIS database and handles synchronization both ways. So if someone makes changes to the data on the Postgres database, it syncs it to the Mergin Maps project, and changes that you make in your Mergin Maps project get synced back to the database. So this is another tool that would need to be configured, but there are instructions for how to do that.
I have a question about this. If you do it with your local Postgres database, then you don't need the license for a cloud service. Is that right?
Well, yeah, yes, that's correct. So there's something called Mergin CE, the community edition. I have that page up here too somewhere.
Or rather, what kind of license do you need if you do it like this?
You don't really need a license. So you could install the Mergin Maps on your own server, and it would be this community edition. And then you could configure the DB sync tool, and you would be in charge of your own Mergin Map server at that point. So there would be no license, and you could handle all your own data security and all and backups and things like that.
You mentioned that some of your colleagues could help assisting with this.
Yeah.
Who do I have to contact if you want some help?
Yeah, I'll give you his email. My colleague Martin.
Oh, Martin Pierre.
Yep. Do you know him?
Yeah, I know him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's the one that would be able to help you with that. He's the one who configured the GeoFA POC data with Mergin Maps using our own server, and so he's also knows how to configure the DB sync tool as well. So yeah, he could help.
Yeah, I had a short look at it, and it looks a bit complicated if you're not used to doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it involves using a Docker container and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another question also, because when I made the tree, we had a layer. I forgot one of the fields about the GPS accuracy.
Okay.
Can I add a new field and then it will be synchronized, or will it?
It should be okay because it's a fairly simple data model that you have right now, but that is one of the ways that sometimes you may have some synchronization problems. But since it's just a single layer and you're adding just one field, yeah, it should be fine. You should be able to do that. It's not ideal, but I think it will work.
Okay.
So since this is just a demo anyway, you can certainly try it. Really nothing to lose. I don't think you'll have problems.
Another question about clone. If you clone a project, it's a totally new project. Is it just a copy of the old one, or
it's
has
a copy,
some reference
basically.
to the old one also?
No, so if I have my Mergin Maps account, and let's say I go to projects here, and I want to find a public project, and so for example, the one for this course that I created, so I can click on this project, and then I can click clone, and it's then it's just a copy of this project in my workspace. So you could do this and you could have a copy of my project in your workspace and it won't be attached to my project at all. It'll be completely separate.
Okay.
So you can give it any name you want. And if you have multiple workspaces, you can choose which workspace you want it to go into. And then you have it.
Would that be the same if you download it and then synchronize it afterwards? Or what's the difference?
If you download a project, you still need to create a Mergin Maps project from it, I think. So if I download this, it's simply going to download a zip file of the project. And so then I would need to open that project up in QGIS and make a new Mergin Maps project out of it.
Yeah.
So cloning is the best way to go if you want to use someone's public project or that you want to explore. Let me see you. So if you search public projects for Lutra Consulting, they have a lot of demo projects up here that might be useful. So for example, one for a basic survey or a photo survey. So they have a lot of demo projects up here, some of which are for specific things, like they have a work packages demo. So this might be another way to test some different functionalities by downloading one of these demo projects from Lutra Consulting and exploring it.
Yeah.
And they also, if you open up the Mergin Maps documentation, just Google Mergin Maps and click on the documentation link. They have like really useful things, like how to attach multiple photos to features. And for a lot of these, they have a download link to a project that you can use for doing this. So yeah, so to see this setup in practice, clone the following project. So you could search for this project on the Mergin Maps platform and then clone it.
Yeah.
So that's a really nice thing about the documentation, is that most of the specific workflows that they have examples of, they have a project that you can clone to explore and see how it's set up. Are there more questions?
Only how I was wondering how it would look if it looked if the projects were on a database, and how to connect to that. And that's the same, or
Yeah, it wouldn't functionally look any different.
okay,
It would be exactly the same. It's just the data would happen to be in a database. So once you
Okay.
have this PostgreSQL DB sync tool configured and installed, that would be invisible. The user wouldn't even know that the data was in a database. It would just be layers, and they would be collecting data and synchronizing back and forth. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the pricing for Lutra. They've just updated it, so that there's a lower fee if you're just an individual wanting to use this. And so you can see for the individual, you get 1 gigabyte. If you have a professional license, you get 10 gigabytes plus 40 gigs of history. So those are all the different versions. The versions over time on a big project can start taking up more and more space. And so they do have an allotment for that history. And then with the team one, they also offer this there's a new feature that they've haven't quite fully unrolled yet, but it's a built-in web map to the platform that allows you to see the project online in a web map. So you'd get that with the team license, access to the API, and more storage. So that web map is something that I don't have access to with my account. Let me go back here. If I click on my project, you can see there's this map tab. So if I was licensed to use this, I would see my data show up on a map online here. So that's a new feature that they're starting to unroll. So yeah, we talked about the documentation. I think we talked about the Slack channel as well. You can use this link to join the Slack channel. Put this in the chat. And they're very responsive. There's a team of 4 or 5 people from Lutra Consulting that answer technical questions, troubleshooting questions from users. And so these next couple slides are just about what we can offer at Septima. We are partners now with Mergin Maps, so we're a partner organization, which basically just means that we have a dedicated page on our site here for what the services we offer around Mergin Maps, and we get a little faster response on bug fixing issues for our customers and things as a result. So what we can do is we can help with installing the software, setting it up, doing any data conversion you might need on your end. We can basically help initiate a project, and then once it's set up, you can use that. We also now are offering hosting, so we have our own Mergin Maps server, and we can host that for you with an associated Postgres database with your data model implemented if that's appropriate. And in that case, we're also able to serve out your data via QGIS server as VFS or VMS layers, so you can see your data online. And then we'd, of course, also offer security and data backup as part of that. So those are some of the services that we're offering around Mergin Maps now. So you can basically subscribe and get a license through Lutra. You can install the community edition and manage your own server, or you can hire Septima to set up a server for you on our cloud and handle things that way. There's a few options for having a Mergin Map server at this point. And I do, in my second edition of Discover QGIS, have a chapter on field data collection. You have actually learned everything that's in this chapter. So, but if you know anyone, this is the only QGIS book that has anything about field data collection that I'm aware of right now. And if you're into podcasts, there's a podcast called Mapscaping, and this he's actually well, he's from New Zealand, but he's been living in Denmark for 10 years. He lives in Newland, and so Daniel runs this Mapscaping podcast, and he had an episode last year on Mergin Maps. So you could listen to this episode from last August if you want to. It's Peter Petrick, one of the developers at Lutra, who he interviewed about it. And then I have a couple more just announcements. So this is another course that I offer. It's an introduction to symbology in QGIS. So if you want to master basic symbology in QGIS and take things a little farther, this would be a good course. So you'll learn kind of the basics of point, line, polygon, and raster symbology. And you'll learn about different symbol layer types like shape burst fills, inverted polygon shape burst fills, using random markers to do effects like this to make a forest look like a forest, creating hashed lines, and just all the different basic options you have around symbology that are easy to overlook. And then I have another kind of follow-on course on data visualization in QGIS. And so this basically shows you how to do things like use layer effects, blending modes, expression-based symbology, use the temporal controller, the 3D viewer. Music's kind of annoying. So you learn how to do all these different things in QGIS. And I have the next version of this is coming up in the second week of June. So it's only about a month away. So if you're interested in that, you can go to our course page and register for this course on data visualization. It's two 2-hour classes with a follow-up session after each one. And then I also offer a course on raster data analysis with QGIS. So in this one, you use raster data to identify potential vineyard locations. So you learn how to prepare the data, mosaic rasters together, clip them, do some terrain analysis with slope and aspect, reclassify rasters, and then use the raster calculator to build the model in the end. So this one's already been offered this spring, but it'll be offered again in the fall. So you can look for that. We haven't set up the course calendar for the fall yet, but when we do, it'll show up in our course calendar. So that's all that I had prepared, but we have 20 more minutes. So if you have more questions, we can answer those.
So the assignment is just to take some screenshots of what we've been doing and sending it to you with the project.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes.
Just enough for me to see that you
Understand.
found the solution and yeah, exactly.
Good.
And so, yeah, I think, what was the date? I think I set that for next Monday. Really, any time next week is fine. But yeah, I said the 23rd of May. So next Tuesday. So you have a long weekend to work on that. Anything else?
Well, I think it sounds really interesting to see as also an alternative to maybe ArcGIS.
Yeah, the field mapper.
Yeah, of course it has to be make a POC of it, but I think that it could do the same things.
Is that what you're using now? Is the field mapper?
We're using field mapper, yeah. Extensively. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a big organization. So people who go to the field, collect data, they use that at the moment.
Okay.
So
so are you more of an ESRI based organization, or are you using QGIS as well?
we're also using QGIS. Actually,
Okay.
it's divided between we are consolidating. We are trying to consolidate our desktop
Okay.
GIS. So and we have both. Well, I mean, we have Map Info, we have ArcMap, we have ArcGIS Pro, and we have QGIS. So we have to figure out which one we really want to go for, because we only want one.
Yeah.
So we have a decision here before in summer, before the summer holidays, where we're gonna make a decision on which way we're gonna go.
So do you know about the Slayer plugin? SLYR?
Slayer? Nope.
Yeah. I put the link in the chat just now, but you will probably want to know about this. This is I'm gonna just bring up the web page that I just posted in the chat. So can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the Esri to QGIS compatibility suite plugin. So it basically
Yes, I actually, me and Mads Olander from Naturstyrelsen, we paid for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Great.
Sorry.
So yeah, it's a fantastic plugin, and there's been a new development in it. You can now use it to save a QGIS project to an ArcGIS Pro project.
Okay.
You can go both ways. So if you're converting, it could help ease the pain.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But also that we can now actually read SDK SDE protocols.
Mm-hmm.
So if we need to use still that for a while,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of options at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super helpful. Great. Okay, well, I will send the link out in this follow-up session, and hopefully I'll see everyone at a meeting sometime in the future, court day or something.
Yeah. Thank you,
All right.
Kurt.
All right.
Kurt, can I call you on the Teams right after here?
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
take a look at my screen. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for now.
Bye.
Bye.